Hello and welcome to the British Gaming Podcast. It is the 20th of October 2015. I'm Sam Webster. Somewhere over that way is Richie Savage.
Hello.
Terry Kane.
Hello.
And special guest, a friend we've mentioned a couple of times in past episodes, Peter Bunyan.
You mentioned me?
Well, yeah, if
Yeah.
you'd listened...
Every week.
If you'd listened to our previous shows like a good friend would, you'd already know that.
You do come up in their conversations quite a lot, I have to say.
Yeah.
All
Actually,
good things, all good things.
I don't know if Richie and Pete have talked properly before, so this could be interesting. Because I know we've
What,
talked...
are we trying to set them up or something?
No, I know
It's like a first date.
we've
I
talked
don't know.
to Pete about Richie, and we've talked to Richie about Pete. So that could get interesting. Anyway, topic
You both have
list.
something in common. They both describe things as being hard as dicks sometimes.
This
Have
is
I
true.
done that?
Yeah.
I definitely have.
You've done it on a recording. I've got you saying it. It's part of the Richie Savage soundboard. Anyway, topic list. So we've got the usual what we've been playing, my question of the week. Then there are two questions from Koshoro Guy from last week that we didn't get to answer due to connection issues, so we're going to get those answered. Then we've got The Witcher 3 adding a taxman in its newest DLC. Payday 2 adding microtransactions, which is something they said they'd never do. Call of Duty letting you play any level in any order right from the get-go. The Sonic hacking contest going to voting stage and the ROM hacks actually being out. And oddly enough, Konami are now claiming that Kojima hasn't left the company. Apparently he's just on vacation, despite everywhere else reporting that he left on the 9th of October and photos emerging of his leaving party. Seems a bit strange to me. And then, of course, we have the fan questions for this week. So we'll be answering some more stuff from Koshoro Guy, Lupacillo, and Echo123, I believe. So, sound good to everybody?
Sounds good.
Alright, so, Pete, you can go first, seeing as your special guest. What have you been playing this week?
I have been playing Wolfenstein The New Order again because I can't get enough of that game. I played The Old Blood a little while ago, and as soon as that finished, I just thought, right, I have to go. I just can't underestimate how good that game is.
So can you play those in any order? Because Terry's recommended both of them to me a couple of times. Can you do like Old Blood then New Order, or do you have to do New Order first, or does any of that?
Because chronologically, The Old Blood obviously comes first, and then it's The New Order, and they do basically when The Old Blood ends is pretty much just like maybe a couple of days before The New Order starts, but because obviously The New Order was out first, that's the one I played first.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's things you realise about the game that you notice in The Old Blood, the sort of cross-references between them.
Right.
So I've gone the opinion that you can probably play them in any order you want, really.
Just so long as you play them both.
Yeah, I would definitely play them both multiple times. But I feel, they both make references sort of to each other because obviously they're very closely linked. But there's not really an order. I guess you may as well play them in chronological order.
Fair enough. Anything else, or just lots of Wolfenstein?
That's pretty much it. Of course, I've been playing Grand Theft Auto online a bit and stuff as well, but that's sort of normal, really.
Yeah, you need to join us when we next play.
Yeah, join our crew. Tear shit up with us. We're rebels.
Represent.
Yeah. Terry, what have you been playing, mate?
I've been playing Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. I did my first playthrough of that and finished it all in one sitting. I can't really add much that Peter hasn't already said about it, really. They're both amazing games. Play them. On top of that, I finally finished Tomb Raider Reboot. It's okay. It's alright.
It's weird to see how Uncharted borrowed so heavily from the old Tomb Raiders, and now Tomb Raider is borrowing heavily from Uncharted.
Yeah, to be honest, the whole time I was playing through it, I just wanted to be playing Uncharted 2.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Other than that, just a little bit more Mario Maker. I still need to make another new level. I just keep playing other people's levels and doing the 10 Mario Maker challenge and stuff. That's about it for this week. Tonight I'm going to be playing Life is Strange, episode 5, which came out today. There's going to be a Let's Play going up of that as soon as possible, so keep an eye out for that. Plug, plug, plug.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna go next then. I've been playing Tomb Raider, but not the reboot. During Facebook chat and stuff during the week, it came to light that Terry really doesn't like the original Tomb Raider, and I absolutely adore the original Tomb Raider, to the point that I have it on PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and PC, and could probably talk at length about the differences between each version. Played a.
You did, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
I
I
did.
did.
That repackaged.
We made Repackaged Rebooted, Episode 1, Tomb Raider. So yeah, I played through it again, because you can never play through that game enough times, in my opinion. And then I watched a speed run, and it was PlayStation 1, no tools or anything like that, just doing it naked, I guess. Using glitches, but, no resets or anything like that. And
Oh, see, sorry, when you said naked, I thought you meant the naked Lara cheek for a second.
no.
If only.
And I just watched this guy absolutely destroy the game in like an hour and 20 minutes, and it was impressive, but it was brutal. And I also learned a lot about the game that I didn't know, particularly like glitch side of things. I don't really do glitches. I don't know about many glitches, but I learned a lot this week about the ways you can glitch the shit out of Tomb Raider. It's pretty funny. Outside of that, I played a little bit of Persona 4 Golden on my PlayStation Vita. Been playing a lot of Super Meat Boy now that that's on PS4, which I think you wanted to race at some point. If you wanted to say that I haven't been practicing, no, I've been practicing a lot.
I've never finished it, so I don't think I'd do very well in a race on that.
I've never finished it either.
I'm on the final boss, or at least what I think is the final boss.
Is it your first time being on the final boss, or...?
Yes. Yeah. So
it's fucking hard.
I'm in World 6 and I'm up against Dr. Fetus. But apparently there is a Cotton Candy world after. Apparently there's a World 7 where you play as Bandage Girl. Dunno, I'll find out, I guess. But yeah, playing that. And, GTA 5. I finally put some custom songs in it. And I didn't go on and do any missions or anything. I literally just went on, made sure the custom songs worked, and then just went for a drive. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Richie, saving the best for last. What have you been playing, mate?
Some more GTA 5 online, as we have been. I would be playing that today if we weren't doing the podcast, because the new DLC's come out for that today. The Lowrider DLC that you sent us the other day, the link to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's come out today, but apparently the lowriders and that are really expensive. You know, my brother got a load of money off a hacker, and he had like $6 million. He's pimped up a couple of cars in the lowrider garage to the top they can be, and he's got $1 million left.
Oh,
so he spent about $5 million. Yeah, crazy amount of money.
It'll be interesting to see what that can do, though, the next time we play with him.
He sent me some pictures of his lowrider car, and it looks badass. I'll send them to you in a second once I'm finished telling you my games, and I can think about two things at once. So I'll send you the pictures on probably on the Facebook thing.
Okay.
But
cool.
Apart from that, I got bought a copy of a game called Sir, Are You Being Hunted? Or Sir, You Are Being Hunted, sorry?
Yes.
Have any of you played that?
I've got that, but I haven't played it yet. I got it because it looked really interesting. And
Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard, but it's an interesting game. Basically, you're some British guy stranded in the middle of nowhere, and there's loads of robots trying to kill you, and you have to get these things to repair your whatever it is, like teleportation device, to save yourself. But they have a really stupidly long range of sight. They seem to see me every single time. I don't know how they do.
You're just not very good.
Maybe, yeah. I have only played it for about an hour. So, but they've got multiplayer on it as well, so I think that might be fun with more people, because 2 of my friends bought it as well. So it'd be interesting to do that. Because it was like 90p or something in the sale, or like £1 something, £1.50 or something like that.
At which point you're like, fuck it.
Yeah, Yeah, I
Well,
got
whoever
gifted.
bought
I was
it
going to
for
buy.
you was
I was thinking about buying it anyway, and then I got gifted a copy, and I was just like, fine, I can't complain about that. But yeah,
nice.
that's all I've really played this week.
Okay. On to the question of the week then from me. Your favorite console that nobody else seems to give much love. So, for an example, I adore my Sega Saturn. Nobody else gives a toss about the Sega Saturn. I'm
I
guessing
do.
Richie's. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm guessing Richie's answer will mirror mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Terry?
Your favourite console that no one gives enough love for?
Yeah, so like
Hmm.
me and Richie love the Sega Saturn. No one else seems to give a shit about it.
Um, hmm. I don't know. I don't know. The closest thing I can think of is the Wii U.
Yeah.
People have heard
Yeah,
about
that's fair. Oh
That
yeah,
is.
actually,
Well, we didn't say
another game.
consoles that people haven't heard of.
I played Lego Dimensions at the weekend.
Oh, was that any good?
Oh, how was it?
It's all right actually. It's a bit grindy in places, and
Oh.
and a lot of it is obviously locked off by paywalls and things like that, buying the figures. But I played the Portal level, and that was quite fun. I enjoyed that.
Oh.
Okay.
It's worth a look. It's probably not worth the money, but it's worth a look. If someone else has got it and lets you have a go, give it a go. But it does just play like any other Lego game, though.
I don't know, when I went to that village meeting about the fibre optic broadband in the village, I was easily the youngest guy there by 20 to 30 years. I may be the only person in the village with a video game console. I don't think anyone's going to let me have a go on Lego Dimensions anytime soon.
You'd be surprised how many people are in video games consoles. At one of my jobs, there was this old boy, and basically, I was just talking about games with someone, and then he turns around, he's like, "Oh yeah, well, well, he was playing Arkham Knight the other night."
Well, he was playing Arkham Knight. Alright.
I was just like, "Oh, okay, wasn't expecting that."
Oh, and I played some Arkham Knight. I did all of the side quests except for Riddlers, because fuck Riddler.
Fair enough.
Uh, Pete, what would you a console you're quite fond of that nobody else seems to be fond of?
I really liked the Ouya. And I'll tell
Oh,
you why I really like the Ouya. It's not because it has a magnificent selection of games, because it doesn't. I really like the Ouya for what it was trying to accomplish. And for what it was. It was a dirt cheap gaming console. And I think that, so they had an admirable goal. It was really easy to develop for. I did a bit of stuff for that. I never released anything because I got bored of it. Uh, but I just think they were let down by they should have had some decent launch titles. But other than that, I really admire it for what it was and what it was trying to be.
so we actually found the one person who is happy with their Ouya purchase.
Yeah, and the controller's actually really good to use on your phone with Bluetooth as well. Seeing as the controller's half the cost of it, that's quite good.
Fair enough.
Good answer. I like
Yeah.
it.
Let's get to Kishoro's unanswered questions from last week because again, unfortunately, we lost the connection and couldn't get it back. So
He's waiting on the edge of his seat for this.
yeah, he is. He's really keen to hear these. So, question. Well, what was question 5? Who are some of your favourite non-gaming focused YouTubers? I don't think I watch anyone on YouTube who isn't to do with video games. As bad as that might sound, like everyone I follow on YouTube has something to do with games, even if it's like tutorials for making games in Unity or Unreal. You know.
Yeah,
I've got a
fair.
few.
Yeah.
So, LA Beast, he's an absolute legend, competitive eater. Um, who else? Who else? I'm literally looking through my subscriptions at the moment. Film Cow, most famously known for Charlie the Unicorn and Lambs with Hats. Ill Will Press used to be quite funny back in the day. You remember Foamy the Squirrel?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Who else? You know the Game Theorist. They've also got a Film Theorist channel now, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Who else? Who else? Team 4-Star for Dragon Ball Abridged.
Didn't think of them either. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Oh, Rooster Teeth. Obviously, Ruby season 3 is on the way.
hmm.
Yeah,
They are a pretty gaming
Oh.
heavy company, though.
they are.
Lazy Unicorns for Kung Fury.
Oh
If anyone hasn't seen Kung Fury yet, watch it. It's like this half-hour short film on YouTube that's just absolutely amazing.
yeah, it's insane.
On the Rooster Teeth vibe, Slow Mo Guys. That is one of my favourite channels and will always be one of my favourite channels.
Is it literally just stuff in slow motion?
Yeah, you know Gavin from Achievement Hunter.
No.
Ah, well, from Rooster Teeth, Gavin and there's two guys called Gavin and Dan, and they do everything in slow mo. They've got like really, really super expensive like cameras that they use to film stuff in slow mo, and some of their videos are absolutely brilliant. Definitely worth a watch.
Okay. Pete?
Yeah, I've got quite a few different ones. I think my favourites are probably Flight Test, which is all about remote control planes and helicopters and stuff like that. Basically, because I haven't really got the time or stuff to do it myself, so I watch other people doing it.
Oh, so sort of like drones.
Yeah. Of course, they don't tend to fly themselves, which is what a drone is. I'm not going to get started on that, though. But yeah, just basically remote control planes and all that sort of stuff. Quadcopters. Just quickly, EEV blog. It's about electronics engineering, so if you're not interested in that, you won't be interested. But if you are, it's probably the best channel for it. I've also got a load of motorcycle vloggers on there because I've got a bike. But the most interesting one, I think, is Colin Furze. I don't know if you've heard about him, but he's this British guy that basically is sort of like a mad scientist engineer. And he does a load of crazy stuff, like a bed that will eject you out of it when the alarm goes off. He also has done a couple of video game things. He's made a Tuk Tuk from Far Cry with all sort of like guns that like fold out and stuff like that. And at the minute, he's actually making like the Assassin's Creed grappling hook as well, which will actually like fire off and winch you up.
Sounds very Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. And he's also got his special safety tie as well, which keeps him safe.
You know, when you first started talking about bike YouTubers, I immediately thought of the guy. He got featured on TV at one point, but he's got like a GoPro on his cycling helmet, and it's just him cycling through London.
I've heard.
Yeah, and he like tells people off whenever they break a traffic law. And like there's one of him with a London bus, and he like gets out a fucking ruler to show the guy that he's too close to the bicycle.
Wow.
You see
Yeah,
this? You see
that
this? Too
That is
close.
passive aggressive. That is.
Oh. Oh, there was two more I forgot to mention. Epic Mealtime and FPS Russia.
FPS Russia?
Yeah, he's just this Russian dude that just fires guns and like. Did he do rocket launchers at one point or
I think
grenade
so.
launcher?
He's definitely done flamethrowers, and he's done like an anti-aircraft gun and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, so basically just a Russian guy with a lot of weapons and fires them at things.
Gee, a Russian with a lot of weapons.
That's the most Russian-sounding thing I've ever heard.
It is so brilliant to watch. It's just so satisfying. It's like the manliest thing I watch on YouTube, I think.
Okay. Let's move on to question 6 because I think this could
Oh wait,
cause...
has Richie answered?
Yes.
Yeah, I gave a quick answer.
Oh.
So, actually, one quick one on question 5. I just noticed Kashara Guy gives a shout out to Emma Prevost. Does What's in the Box, reaction and review, and used to do a show called Longbox Chronicles. Yeah, Emma's awesome. So, Emma Prevost for definite. Helsing920 being his YouTube name. So, question 6. If all of you were suddenly captured and had to fight one another in order to survive, and you were given access to anything, what type of equipment would you choose?
God.
What would your special moves be? And why and how would you deal the finishing blow to your opponents?
Can I just say, Sam would probably be the first to die. We could just snap you, Sam. Sorry.
Gang up on him.
I'm actually not going to argue with that.
No, because we'll snap you.
I don't really know how to answer this question.
Yeah, alright, I'm just going to go then. So,
Bye.
I would say heat-seeking missiles, but as it turns out, Pete's a cold-blooded piece of shit, so those wouldn't work.
It's gonna keep me alive.
No, you know what this is making me think of, and the video's not up yet, so I apologise, because no one else has seen this outside of us. That custom map we went on with Chaz and GTA, where it was just grenades and a circular, like, arena with no
Yeah,
escape.
that
We were
was
just
funny, that
chucking
was.
grenades at each other. And Chaz said he was running along, and he was just, like, dropping the grenades behind him as he ran, so anyone chasing him would blow up. That
It
actually,
worked. He won. It worked.
yeah, that's my entire tactic right there. Just being a pussy, running away and dropping grenades. It suits my style of everything. Anyone else want to jump in here?
Well, all I can think of, I've been watching Arrow and The Flash recently on TV, and all I can think of is running really fast, which I can't do, and a bow and arrow, which I'm probably crap at. So I'll probably just fire a load of arrows around you guys, and then run at you really fast.
Okay, sounds interesting.
I think a flamethrower would be a really satisfying way to kill someone.
Yeah, but they can just step a couple of meters further back and be invulnerable to you.
Yeah, but then you take a couple of steps forward. There's no. Or I'm guessing this is like I'm guessing we're in an enclosed room here.
Well, you don't know. You don't know that.
They just sat back or just step forward. That's such a Norfolk answer.
I'm guessing this isn't like the Purge and we're all running around the streets. I'm guessing we're in a confined space for this.
I don't
think
know.
the
I
problem
imagine
is-
this as
Let's
more.
just be more specific.
I imagine this as more like a battle royale / Hunger Games sort of deal.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a gladiatorial arena fight, in which case I'm fucked anyway. But Terry, would you go speak to this Russian friend of yours? And
Yeah. That's the thing. I've watched enough FPS Russia to know how to fire a gun. That's how it works, I'm sure.
that's like someone saying
I don't
played
know.
Call of Duty, so I know how to fire a gun.
Wait, am I the only person here that's actually fired guns before?
Probably.
Yay, I'm going to win then.
Unless airsoft guns count for anything, yeah.
No, I've shot real rifles before.
What about a water pistol? Does that count?
I mean, it depends what you fill it with, I guess.
Yeah,
You fill it with
absolutely.
petrol, like your little flamethrower.
Richie, don't go squirting your water pistol over the place.
Oh, I got in trouble for that before.
So Terry, what would your weapon of choice be? Come on.
I don't know. I'd probably go for a melee weapon just because unlimited ammo. You know, you don't need ammo basically. And I'd probably, if it's like a Hunger Games sort of environment, try and sort of stealth it, like some camo or some shit.
You. Stealth.
Oh, bitch, please! I've seen you play Metal Gear. You suck.
Yeah, I do, but you would probably fart 3 seconds in and give your position away.
Yeah, but at least my end would be hilarious.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Shall we move on to the actual topics then, and then we can come round for this week's questions at the end?
Go for it.
Alright. So, The Witcher 3. There's a new DLC, and it adds a taxman who basically questions you about all of the money glitches and exploits that have been in previous editions of the game. So originally you could kill a bunch of cows, have them respawn, kill them again, keep doing that, and then just sell the hides for a lot of money. And they patched that out. Now if you keep doing that, this really, really badass, tough, like bovine god enemy turns up to kick your ass. Then there was some kind of pearl thing. Apparently there was an item, you could buy it very cheap, and inside was a pearl that sold for a lot of money. So you could just buy bulk this item, and then sell back in bulk just the pearl, and just make money hand over fist. That kind of thing. So this taxman sort of stops you he asks you questions about all of this. He also asks you about, have you ever just plain gone into someone's house and stolen shit? Which I think is quite funny considering that's an RPG trope anyway. And
Yeah.
if you answer him, saying, yes, I did do these things, you get a fine. Whereas if you answer saying, no, I didn't, you get an award, something about upstanding citizen or upstanding taxpayer, and he goes away. So,
Are we still talking about a game? I'm
yes.
confused.
Yeah, we are talking about a video game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what it's teaching you is that you can lie to the tax man and get away scot
And
free.
get an award for it.
Yeah,
award
pretty
for
much.
That's what big businesses do.
Ooh, topical.
No, so I think it's a nice way of sort of giving a wink and a nod and having an ongoing discussion with the fans, and just sort of realizing, wow, you guys tore our game apart pretty quick. I think it's a nice wink and a nudge and a nod.
I think it's the fact that because when I first heard about it, I thought that it would obviously know that you'd done those things, and just even if you said you hadn't, it would I thought the whole point was it would know you were lying and then hurt you or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So I think
supposedly you can lie through your teeth and be fine.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of interesting. It doesn't really take anything away from it. I can kind of see it more as part of a multiplayer game, because obviously in The Witcher, if you're getting loads of money and all this sort of stuff, it doesn't really have an adverse effect on other people because it's a single player game. But if
sort
you
of
were
like when Rockstar came down heavy on all the money glitches in GTA.
yeah, I can imagine it being a lot better in something like GTA or some other multiplayer game where you having lots of money or you increasing your stats by glitching or something like that would actually give you an edge over other players. But I guess at the end of the day, you play a game to escape realism and not file taxes and stuff like that.
Richie, any thoughts?
I'm watching a video of it at the moment.
Don't you love the guy's
so
voice
this is
actor?
this is just a bit of fun, is it then? This isn't a serious thing.
Pretty much.
Pretty
I
much.
don't think they come to your house and beat you up over a video game. I think it's the sort of in-game. Well, you shouldn't have done that, and then that's it.
I think, as you can see right now, Richie, it's very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, I see what you mean. At first I thought where I thought this was going at first was like you said about GTA Online, about actually punishing people for something they'd done wrong. But this is fine. I like this. This is quite funny.
Yeah, it's just a bit of silliness.
CD Projekt Red are definitely a developer that are winning over more and more people at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like I've said before about their DLC practices. They're doing everything right. Like, they're basically doing DLC how it should be done.
Yeah, true. I mean, the DLC that this is featured in is supposed to be an extra 8 hours of gameplay. That's more than a full game,
And on top of that, they're always doing free, little bits of updates, little bits of DLC here and there, like what GTA 5 Online gets, kind of thing, to keep people coming back for more and keep the online community interested.
Well, it's working for GTA 5 Online, it's working for The Witcher 3, and it's also working for Splatoon as well. It's stopping people trading in their copies because they're like, ooh, we're getting this update next week.
Exactly. That's the way to keep online going. I mean, hell, Counter-Strike's doing the same thing as well.
The worst thing to do, Arkham Knight has now revealed all of the DLC you'll get as part of the Season Pass. So beforehand they were drip-feeding it, keeping it secret. Now they've just revealed everything right the way up to the end of the 6-month plan. Because
Is it as disappointing as I'm expecting?
Yeah, really quite disappointing. It's like I feel let down without actually having spent any money, which is probably the best position to be in.
I'm glad I only spent about £7 on the season pass.
Yeah, no kidding. Speaking of spending money on things and people being unhappy, Payday 2 has microtransactions now. So the way it works is you can spend, I think it's about £1.69, and you get a special drill that will unlock a vault, and that gives you a gun with a custom skin and potentially some stat-altering properties. So, reload faster, do more damage, that kind of thing. And people are up in arms because it's exactly the kind of thing that Overkill promised we would never, ever, ever, ever see in the game. Ever. Under any circumstance.
Yeah, it's getting to the point now where games publishers are about as believable as politicians. It sucks.
Have you seen what's done to the Metacritic score?
No.
It dropped from like a 92 to an 84.
Well,
Since
sucks
that
to be them.
announcement, people have just been like, downvote, downvote.
I don't know how much of an effect it'll have, though. I think everyone that's going to buy Payday 2 has probably already bought it.
Yeah,
That's
it was on
true.
sale like all the time. It was on sale the other day
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps going on sale.
for like
Yeah.
£3.
Yeah, £3.74 and you can get Payday 2 most of the time.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much.
I don't know, I think it's one of those things where I would be angry if this was PvP, but it's not PvP, it's co-op. So if someone's got a better gun than me because they paid for it, that does not disadvantage me in any way, shape or form. If anything, they're on my team and they have a better gun, that increases my chances of success. Am I the only one thinking that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think in the majority, it's probably a slightly good thing. I think the only thing that's bad about it is they're doing something they said they weren't going to do.
Yeah, I think that's what it's about,
really
isn't it? It's about the betrayal more than anything.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I can see it. It came out a couple of years ago, didn't it? So I can see it as maybe even being an attempt to keep the community going, because you're going to have players that
2013, I believe.
yeah. So you're going to have players that are going to be at the top or getting to the top, and they're getting bored, and it just sort of it gives players another reason to play it, because they think, oh, actually, I can just give a little bit more money and I can get this that's different or that's different, and it changes it up a little bit. And also it enables players to say, well, I bought this 2 years ago, but I still really like it, so I want to give them a little bit more money in the hopes that they're then going to do a Payday 3 or that they'll do another game that I'm going to really enjoy as well. So it's about saying, I like this game enough that I want to give them a little bit more on top of what I paid for it.
Especially if you paid £3.74. Absolutely.
I paid £3 for this game and it's worth more than that, so I'm happy to give them a little something and get a little something back in return as well.
One concern I've seen banded around, which I can sort of get, are people saying that usually in a video game, you go in and everybody's equal. However, as soon as you add these kind of microtransactions, you enter a world of the haves and the have-nots. And you get this elitism going on, saying, well, you've not got this gear, you're not one of the cool kids, we've got this gear. And that could split the community or cause resentment to foster, that kind of thing. Honestly...
The thing is...
Sorry, go ahead, Terry.
I was going to say, the thing is, with online communities, that's a really petty thing to get segregated over. And when you get to an online community, there's always going to be petty shit like that segregating communities. Because let's face it, it gives someone a bit of anonymity and a keyboard, and half the people just turn into an arsehole.
We finally have our first keyboard warrior, albeit tongue-in-cheek.
I think that's a valid concern with most games, but I think the problem is it's become a rule of, when people get better equipment, that makes the game worse for other people. And you sort of ignore the fact that, well, that only really matters when you're one-on-one against someone, or your team is fighting against another team. In Payday 2, it doesn't matter if the guy next to you's got a better gun. It just means that you're going to, hopefully, you've got a higher chance of completing the job and getting more XP and money yourself. So it only helps you, whereas I think it is a fairly good rule for things like, I know Team Fortress 2 is doing stuff like that, like crate drops and stuff like that, where it is somebody on the other team has paid more money and they have an advantage over you, which is where I think the resentment comes from.
So do you think this is more a knee-jerk reaction where people who have seen it taint competitive games are assuming the same is going to happen here and possibly not making the connection that, oh, actually, shit, I'm not fighting against this guy, I'm fighting with this guy.
Yeah, I think it's just sort of tarring everyone with the same brush, really, where if it could even be a bonus for some games like this, where it just encourages more players to join.
Okay, so generally speaking, the British Gaming Blog crew is on board with this.
I'm indifferent to it, to
impartial.
be honest.
Yeah, I was hesitant to say on board, but literally the only reason is because they said they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I don't want to wholeheartedly endorse it. But even though they said they weren't going to do it, it's probably a very slightly positive thing. And I'm sure they've got people there that are brighter than us and said, oh, well, actually, well, if we do this, it will be better for the community because if it's better for the community, we get more money because people buy the game and stuff like that.
People will still buy it anyway. It's one of these vocal minority things where the people who don't like it are going to shout about it. The people who do like it don't care and just buy it.
Another thing as well is DLC is just a dirty word now as well. So and microtransactions and all that kind of stuff. So as soon as that sort of label gets applied to something, instantly it's seen as a negative.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, something I've seen as a negative that not everyone else seems to be seeing as a negative then. Call of Duty, the newest Call of Duty, if you're on current gen, has a campaign. If you're on last gen, doesn't have a campaign, as we mentioned previously. And now you can play that campaign in any order you want, because all of the levels are unlocked as soon as you pop that disc in your system. Now, I'm going to make the argument against, and I'm also going to explain what I've heard as, people have already tried to rebut me. So, for me, I mean, a lot of people say, well, you can go on Netflix, you can load up Daredevil, you don't have to watch all of Season 1, you can skip straight to the last episode if you want. It's no different loading up Call of Duty and skipping to the last level. People have said, you buy an album, you don't have to listen to tracks 1 to 11 to listen to track 12. That kind of thing. That's the argument people have been giving me. So, with video games, I think the key is that it's an interactive experience. So, there's such things as difficulty curves and teaching your gamers how to play the game without actually having to tell them much, teaching them through experience. Mario 1-1 is a very good example of how to teach through experience. The first screen, you're all the way over to the right, even though the camera is usually centered on Mario. It's pretty much the only time it isn't, just to convey, look, you have to go left. So the first thing they check is, do you know to go left? Do you know to go right, even? You're all the way over to the left and you have to go right. I completely balls that up through not knowing my left and right. Anyway, then a Goomba comes on screen, single Goomba. The only way around that situation is to jump. So at that point, right, they know to go right, they know to jump. It's pretty much everything they need to know for Mario, but the level continues like that, just sort of slowly ramping it up. And then the other very, very good example you've got of that is Mega Man X. Mega Man X's first level, Egoraptor did a superb job of breaking it down in sequelitis. I'm not going to try and rip that off here, but go check out that video. Mega Man X does a fantastic job of teaching the player how to play the game without actually having to directly tell them anything. So, in other areas of games, for example, Shadow Dancer, enemies with new patterns get introduced. Then you get combinations of those enemies, and you have to shift your tactics accordingly. And you sort of figure out, okay, this is what these guys do. These are the considerations I need to make. And your overall skill improves. Now, in the days long, long past when, I wasn't very good at games like Tomb Raider, which I've been playing this week, there were skip level codes, and I would get stuck on a level, use the skip level code, and get immediately stuck on the next level. And why? Because I wasn't good enough at the game yet to be there. So I think, you're not, unless you've beaten all of the previous Call of Duties on the hardest difficulties, etc., you're not necessarily ready to jump straight into the final level. The other big concern that I have is regarding narrative. So if we go back to the Daredevil argument someone made to me, oh, you can skip straight to the last episode of Daredevil on Netflix. Yes, you can, but A, good luck understanding what's going on, and B, it will not be as impactful for you as it would have been had you watched the whole series, because there's a whole bunch of shit that you missed out on. So again, I would disagree and argue there that it would be very stupid to go and watch the last episode straight off the bat. So for that reason, I'm against what Call of Duty have decided to do in unlocking all of the levels from the get-go. Feel free to attack me and tear me down.
Oh no, I'm with you on that. I mean, I think, yeah, no, I do agree. I mean, I think a better way of going about it would have been a level select sheet for those people that, for whatever reason, want to have that option. That kind of thing. I don't think it's a good idea to have it unlocked like that from the start. And I'll use an example for this: Tekken 6. Straight away, every single character is unlocked. So I've got no motivation to play through like the character stories or anything like
mode,
that.
yeah,
through arcade mode or anything. Because I'm thinking, well, I've already got everything. What's the fucking point?
It's like Tekken 3 Streets of Rage mode. You played through that to get Dr. Boskonovich.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's all about the build-up. You want to sort of start off with something and then keep getting more and more as you go through the game. Like, you said something about that with Saints Row 3, didn't you, Pete? Before, like.
Yeah, I think a big problem with that game was that you sort of get given a whole lot of stuff right at the start. But I kind of don't. I don't think you should worry, Sam, because I would like to argue your point, seeing as Terry's agreeing with you and all.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that's quite different. Saying that all the characters are unlocked in Tekken, I think that's quite different from Call of Duty. And a couple
you're
of
not
reasons.
arguing me, you're arguing Terry at that point.
I'm arguing both of you. I'm not arguing. We're discussing. But I think
Get out of my house.
Most people that are going to play Call of Duty have played Call of Duty before. But I think the issue is that all the levels are unlocked, but you can still play them in the correct order. And I think the majority of people are still going to play them in the correct order. All the people that care, all the people that think, oh my god, I can't believe they're all unlocked, it's not going to affect them because they're going to play it the same way as they would before. They're going to play it one level to the next and not going on to the next till they've finished one level. So the fact that they're open to them doesn't really affect the people that are complaining about it. But I would also like to, there are games like, I know you mentioned games where you get stuck on certain points, and I know the first time playing through certain games like the new Wolfenstein game and stuff like that, there have been sticking points where you get to a point and you go, this is sort of like a mini boss or whatever. I've tried like 5 times, and there have been games where I've gotten to a point like that and I couldn't get through it, and I've just put the controller down for a month or two on that game, and then eventually come back and beaten it. And I think it's going to be useful for people like that, people that just say, well, I don't necessarily want to beat every single second of this game. I know I'm at the end of the level. I just can't get past this bit. I just want to get on and enjoy the game rather than having to do this bit that I'm not going to enjoy.
So you can't get past that particular challenge, yeah?
Yes.
And you skip the level.
Level.
What happens the next time that challenge comes back? Because the next time they give you that challenge, it'll be harder.
Well, of course you've got the level. It's in between that to upskill as well. But it's also the point that if that challenge comes up again and they still can't beat it, they can just skip that again. And I think it's for a game like Call of Duty. I don't think there's that you don't get the sort of typical big boss fights and stuff like that you would get in a less realistic in quotes game. From my experience of Call of Duty, anyway, it's from my experience, past Call of Duty games have been a very slow ramp up with no real big sticking points. But if a gamer has that, it's something Dara O'Brien said on one of his TV shows a while ago that I just remembered.
Is this the book one?
I don't know. He was talking about Grand Theft Auto 4, and he was saying that he's stuck on a couple of missions, which means he's stuck on the first island. The bridges haven't opened. He can't get to the other islands. He said everybody pays the same price for the game, but because some people can't get past that point, it means they've effectively paid the same amount for less of the game. They can't go on to enjoy the rest of the game because they get so frustrated trying to be a point early on or halfway through that they just put it down. And you've paid for the content. You should be able to do that. It's like I think the Daredevil example, things like that, are probably not the brilliant ones because it's all about the story, and you're never going to skip a whole episode. You're never going to go right to the end. But
Can
maybe
I give
there
you the example that I remember from Dara O'Brien, and the one I thought you were about to bring up, is when he was talking about a book. He said it was on a video game rant, and he was talking about Grand Theft Auto. He said, "I don't buy a book. Get to chapter 3, and suddenly the book asks me a quiz on what the main themes of the book are, and if I get it wrong, the book shuts itself."
Yeah, I think
And
that sounds familiar. But I think it's that same sort of thing where it says you shouldn't be penalised from enjoying content that you want. Because at the end of the day, games are all about enjoyment. And if you're stuck at a bit that you're not enjoying, why shouldn't you be able to go on and experience the rest of the content, enjoy the other stuff? Because that's the whole reason you're there. And you're going to get players that get enjoyment from the challenge. They get enjoyment from trying to be that and doing it over and over again. And then you're going to get players that get enjoyment just from going through the game.
however,
Don't necessarily enjoy those bits, and I think they should be able to skip that. There's also a little effect of, if you say you want to try out a game, you go to your friends and you go, "Oh, I've done 3 levels on this new Call of Duty, so I'm going to get back to mine, and I've got to do those 3 levels again now that I've got the game. So I don't really know if I'm going to have to go through those 3 levels knowing what's already in them. I wish I could just start at the same place without having to copy my save over and stuff." And also, if you lose your save and you just think, well, I really like that middle level, but I've lost my save, so I'm going to have to play through the whole game, so I'm just going to leave it. I think it's good. I think, in effect, everyone that thinks it's a bad idea is like, no, you should play the game linearly. You should play the game one level to the next. You can still do that, and the people that care whether you can do that or not are going to do that. So it doesn't necessarily affect them.
The thing is, I can say I like. Oh, carry on, Sam.
I think it's a difference of where the enjoyment comes from, because if we go back to what I was saying about, when I was younger and playing games like Tomb Raider, and I'd use skip level codes, or I had an exploder as a kid, used to plug into the expansion port of the PlayStation 1, meant that I did have Eris in my party after Disc 1, as well as 9,999 HP. And the experience felt hollow at that point. I didn't enjoy it as much. For me, the enjoyment comes in hitting one of those sticking points you mentioned, and then the feeling you get when you overcome it. Those are the most enjoyable and memorable experiences in video gaming for me.
And that's fair enough. But that's something you can still do in the new Call of Duty game. You can still, instead it becomes of not being able to do something, it's just the self-control to not do that.
I think people are cheating themselves out of it.
I think part of the fun, though, is also being able to unlock new content from beating the initial content of the game. Part of the fun for me is unlockable. It's like, oh, cool, I beat this bit, so therefore I get to do this bit now. I enjoy that factor, and I think a good middle ground would have been a level select sheet.
I get that, but it's all about how different people want to experience the game, and by locking off further levels, you're preventing people that just want to sort of blast through the easy bits and that sort of thing. You're almost preventing them from doing it. And I think the whole unlockable thing should be more a case of, you're still going to have achievements. You're still going to...
achievements aren't a good replacement for unlockables.
I know, but...
I don't count them as a thing at all.
I wouldn't count levels as unlockable.
Just as an aside...
I do. Look at Crash Bandicoot.
Just as an aside, achievement and trophy hunters are probably going to fucking hate this. Because one of the things I use to tell if someone's glitching or cheating their trophies, because they take that shit seriously, is they look at someone's profile and like, you got these trophies out of order, there's no way you can get that trophy before that trophy because of X, Y, and Z. So that gets harder for them to police, but that is a really anal subset of the community.
Yeah, I think that's a very small. I think
Yeah.
the amount of people that are more likely to play because they can skip bits they don't want to. I think that's gonna bring more players than it's gonna turn away, because I can imagine there's people that go, oh, I want to buy that game, but I know it's quite hard, and I know I just want to breeze through it. Like, not the kind of people that just breeze through a game on easy. It's more for that kind of people.
Well,
So it's all because people experience games differently. They take their enjoyment from different things, and I don't see it as preventing enjoyment of somebody that wants to go through level by level, because they can still do that. It's not forcing you to do the levels out of order. It just
Before
becomes a
I
matter
forget, I just want to question Terry on one of his points before I forget what I was going to ask him.
Yeah.
So that was, you said about you like the level unlocks, you like the reward, you like the drip feeding. So
Yeah.
for you, is there a sense of progression that's lost? Do you see everything unlocked and go, well, what's the point? Do you sort
Yeah.
of, yeah,
I mean, that's what I was getting at with my Tekken example. I mean, I know it's very different to Call of Duty, but
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, I like to have incentive to go through the game. I like to, sort of go for the initial bits and think, oh, there's more to get to later on. If everything's right there in front of me, I think it's the same as in Saints Row the Third, where it's like, well, I'm being given too much right away. What's the point?
I mean, I will still stick to, while I respect what Peter's saying, I still think that what's likely to happen is someone will get stuck. They'll say, oh, fuck this bit, go on to the next part of the game, and then get their ass handed to them again, or they'll jump into a bit that they're just plain not ready for.
See, I've been really quiet because I've been enjoying listening to you two debate for the last little while. It's been really enjoyable. I'm probably going to agree with Peter more than anything. I think it's a strange thing to do for the series, especially as it's been sort of like a standard for so long. But I really don't see the harm. I don't see the problem with it. It's a strange turn of events, but
what about...
thing is, the way I see it is, it's not a rule for every game. I wouldn't argue that allowing all the levels at the start would be right for most games. I just think, in my opinion, Call of Duty is a very specific, one of the few games where that does work.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't really argue it as a rule.
I just see someone getting gunned down in level 3, they jump ahead to level 4, and like 5 seconds into level 4 they get gunned down again, and they rage out and they put the game down and never pick it up again. And whereas
I guess
that start bit of level 4,
really
they wouldn't have gotten gunned down if they'd have finished level 3, because they'd have gotten better at the game.
Yeah, but that's the choice of them, is it? It's the choice down to the individual. It's not up to the game developer to tell you how to play the game, really.
But also, it's about the difficulty curves built into the game. I mean, you've got to be aware that obviously companies do a lot of play testing, and if something doesn't play test well, they're not going to include it in the game. So I think it is, and I think it also...
This is what I'm saying, the curve goes out the window.
There's no distinct difficulty curve in game. It's very much a sort of like the difficulty go up, and then you'll get the effective mini boss, and then the curve will go down and start again from a little higher. So, but I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue, because the people that don't want to skip won't skip, and the people that do want to skip,
yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
See, what I'm predicting with this move for Call of Duty, what I'm predicting is basically it's going to take away the narrative, and it's just going to go to mission by mission, kind of like Spec Ops missions in Modern Warfare 2. That's what it's going to progress towards until eventually there's no career, because until there's no campaign. That's what I see is going to happen.
To be fair, I think there's been very little in the way of career in the previous Call of Duties. After 4, there was very little in the way of career, and rightly so. People mainly spend their time in the multiplayer, so that's where they're going to focus it. I think it's probably very telling of us that we're talking about how the levels are set up in this game, but if you buy it for 360 or PS3, you don't even get the single player. So if you're annoyed by this decision, buy it on Xbox. Buy it on the PS3, and you don't have to worry, because those levels won't be unlocked for you ever.
I'm just not going to buy it. I haven't liked the Call of Duty game since Modern Warfare 2.
We're probably the wrong target audience for this game.
Yeah, I know.
Very true. Very true.
Like I say, it takes away the enjoyment I get from unlockables. So that nothing. I get what you guys are saying, but at the same time, it doesn't address my point there. Like, I get a satisfaction from unlocking extra levels, unlocking extra content, and that kind of thing.
That's very built into the multiplayer side of the game, though, as well. You obviously won't start with every gun in the multiplayer. Yeah,
Okay.
you work your
So-
way up,
Yeah.
and that's where you get the unlockables.
I think we've
Yeah.
exhausted that point now. I think we
Yeah.
know where everybody stands. And
Yeah,
all I see is we're going to keep
like
covering
cheats,
the
that'll make
same.
them sorted.
So we know that Terry and Sam are wrong, and me and Richie are right.
So let's move on from a game where the actual developers have made some changes that are proven controversial, to a game where a bunch of fans have made modifications, and the results are pretty fucking mixed, to be honest. The Sonic.
I predict everyone's going to get sued, because that's usually what happens.
No, it's the Sonic hacking contest, which we talked about on one of the previous shows. The entries are now in, and I don't know. I highlighted to Richie and Terry like half a week ago that these were up, and I don't know how many of them you guys have played.
I
fiddled
haven't
with a
played
couple.
any of them.
Played none. Watched a few on YouTube.
Okay, so you've watched a few on YouTube. That's okay at least. These range quite a lot. You've got some which they completely change the way that the game works. For example, we've got Samario, which is Mario in Sonic, and he's got like the twirly twizzle jump that he's got in Super Mario World. Samari the Adventurer, that's the name of that. You've got things like Big's Fishing Derby.
Yeah, saw that one.
It's
That
literally,
It's actually well made, isn't it?
yeah, it's Big the Cat's fishing stages from Sonic Adventure, but in the classic 2D Sonic games. It's actually a lot more fun than it sounds, which is kind of scary. There's Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic CD edition, where they've been redoing the graphics, adding in the super peel out.
Oh, speaking of Sonic CD, did you see that was on the Android store for like 10p or something like that?
Yeah, but I already had it.
Oh, I bought it.
Okay, nicely done. So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic CD edition, where they're enhancing the original game. That one actually looks pretty decent. I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up quite high up. Then you've got, speaking of the super peel out, an appealing Sonic hack, where Sonic is completely stationary, and the only way you can make him move is by doing super peel outs. Yeah.
There's a portal gun in Sonic 2 one I see here.
Yeah, portal gun in Sonic 2, exactly what it sounds like on the tin. A little bit buggy, but it doesn't just affect Sonic, it affects the enemies and stuff as well. And you can actually destroy enemies with their own projectiles if you set the portals up right, which is always fun. You've got Bunny Rabbit in Sonic the Hedgehog. That's a gameplay one where you're playing as Bunny, but she can't do the roll or the spin dash or anything. She's got like a hover jump, and she can also attack with her arm. So you sort of going through Sonic punching the enemies. It changes the just changes the flow of the game really, which is it's quite interesting. Plays with the mechanics. Obviously, there's stuff like Unfair Sonic, which just tries to kill you every which way it can.
I'm watching one called Knuckles Emerald Hunt. That's quite good.
Oh yeah, that's taking the Sonic 2 stages and making them like the Sonic Adventure 2 levels where Knuckles had to find 3 emerald pieces, only in Sonic 2 stages. And you actually end up finding, like even now I'll sometimes find bits of Sonic levels that I didn't know existed. This game's very good for showing you those.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm enjoying it so far,
yeah.
the video.
There's also one called Crazy Sonic, where you play as a bus. So
amazing.
It sort of ranges from the really good and really well thought out and quite impressive to the what the fuck were you thinking? One inversion one that Terry will find quite interesting, I think, is someone's done a hack where they've taken the Freedom Planet characters and put them in Sonic.
Nice.
I can't believe how many entries there are. This is amazing.
Yeah, there's tons here. It's awesome.
Oh, I love Freedom Planet. I set the theme tune for that as my ringtone recently.
Oh, nice.
It's an awesome theme tune.
There's one particular guy who has been busy. E122 Psy. Sally Acorn in Sonic the Hedgehog, and then right next to it, Sally Acorn in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 by the same guy.
Huh.
Yeah. It's quite a lot on here. I think some of these are teams, I think, and some of these are individuals, but yeah, it's definitely a lot to play through. I certainly haven't been able to get through anywhere near half of them. There's a Kirby and Sonic 2 one that looks kind of interesting. There's Sonic 1 Hard Bosses mode, which, again, sounds interesting, but I've got to get to them, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
Unfair Sonic. I'm gonna have a look at Unfair Sonic.
Okay, you have a look. Tell me what you think.
Oh, there's the video. Cool.
I really need to play some of these.
Which ones are taking your fancy at the moment?
So, a lot of them.
A lot of them.
Potential racers here.
Yeah, true. A
Oh,
race
God,
through
yeah,
Unfair Sonic could be good.
We need to do another race soon.
We do.
Oh dear lord, what is going on?
So if you
Hedgehog
guys...
Abuse Simulator.
Yeah, that one uses the debug mode as a gameplay mechanic.
Oh,
So you have
God.
to use debug to complete it.
Ugh.
If you guys knew what the hell you were doing with Sonic hacking, what would you have made?
It's a good question.
Well, I probably would have just rearranged the levels, like some kind of hard mode which was challenging but fair, you know?
I'm
I would make the original Sonic game without Marble Zone, because I fucking hate Marble Zone.
You just
all I would change.
take the files for Marble Zone, delete, publish, done.
I think you're the only person I know who would say Marble Zone and not Labyrinth Zone.
I don't mind Labyrinth Zone after Marble Zone. It's a nice change.
Oh, I hate Labyrinth Zone. And the fact that Scrap Brain Act 3 is Labyrinth Zone Act 4.
Oh god, don't remind me.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I think one thing that would be pretty neat is just basically a run through of like the bosses, just the boss fights from 1 all the way to 3 and Knuckles.
Oh, there was a Boss Rush Sonic hack released for last year's competition.
Oh, that's pretty
What
neat.
about if you could be the bosses? If you could be
Become the boss.
yeah, and you have to fight Sonic and see if you can beat him.
I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
There are a couple of hacks where you play as Robotnik on foot.
You know, I mean specifically
Not quite the
boss
same.
fights. Because obviously the whole thing in the boss fights is the timing. But other than that, you were controlling him. Could you beat Sonic? Or I guess you'd have to have a pretty good CPU playing as Sonic. Or maybe
Yeah.
you could do a PvP sort of thing. One person plays as Sonic, other person plays as Robotnik.
Bear in mind, this is ROM hacking, so you're still bound by the confines of the original
Yeah.
game. But yeah, the boss rush sounds interesting. As I say, I'd just do like a remix with harder levels. That'd be it. I wouldn't get more inventive than that, to be honest.
Imagine if there was a Supersonic Maker.
Ooh, yeah, I think the timing of this was quite good. You know, just as
Gotta
everyone's
be on,
playing with
gotta be on the
Mario Maker.
horizon, isn't it? It's got to be.
Oh yeah, do it, Sega, do it. Because you know you listen to this podcast. Of course you do.
Oh god, can you imagine though if they made Supersonic Maker but you could only have Sonic 4 levels?
Terry, I'm going to fucking murder you for
Oh,
Let's hope they're not listening now.
that's the sort of disappointing thing that they would do.
Alright, I've got to take the segue while it's obvious. Speaking of disappointments, Konami, fucking hell. So, everywhere reported that Kojima had left Konami on the 9th of October. That was his last working day, which, you know, ties in with everything that had been going on between Kojima and Konami. Konami confirming they'd still be making Metal Gear games without him, taking his name off the box art, so on and so forth. Although that didn't stop Kojima putting his name absolutely everywhere inside the fucking game itself. So now Konami have turned around and said, oh no, Kojima hasn't left. he's actually just on vacation. No indication of when he's going to be back from vacation, by the way, which, I found kind of funny. And then shortly after Konami made these claims, Kotaku and a few other news outlets, I think Eurogamer got these as well, photographs from Kojima's leaving party. What the hell are Konami trying to pull here, It's almost like they're going, it's still good, it's still good.
It makes me think of just like a really bad breakup. Where Kojima's like, I'm leaving you, and Konami's like, no, we're just on a break, come back, he's coming back, honestly. And that's, they have to believe he's coming back because they think they're nothing without him.
This is like taking someone who's just a really good friend round to your parents for Christmas and not saying anything, but hoping they just make assumptions on their own.
Speaking from experience, or?
Maybe.
I think they probably want him back, and they're probably trying to get him back, but I think he probably has had enough.
I wouldn't blame him. I mean, you look at, I think they've probably just seen the backlash and how many fans have gone against them, and probably been like, well, shit. Apparently
well, this is the thing. Even if it's even if they want to get rid of him, the public backlash has been so ridiculous that they kind of have to go back on themselves, really, to save face.
Do we know if he left because he wanted to, or was he forced out?
I've read that he was pushed rather than anything.
I've heard that their working conditions were partly to blame, which are reportedly terrible working conditions, and supposedly the whole Metal Gear Solid 5 having microtransactions was something Kojima was against as well, so that could have been a possible point of tension. But yeah, I guess we don't really know. Like you say, it is like the jilted lover being like, "What do you mean we've broken up? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's on a business trip. He'll be back. When? I don't know. When they're done with him over there, I guess. Whenever they send him home."
Whatever's going on, whoever they've got for their PR at Konami fucking sucks at their job.
Maybe it was Kojima. Maybe that was his second part of his job. And so he left, and now they haven't got any PR, so they're sort of looking a bit crazy.
To be fair, Kojima was responsible for a hell of a lot of his own PR, like interviews and that kind of thing was very definitely Kojima. They didn't seem very Konami approved, if you know what I mean.
Well, this article kind of reads like they haven't really made an exact statement as to what's going on, almost like something's still going on in the background and they just don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah?
That's how it kind of reads. It's very vague and there's something between the lines they're not outlining. That's how it kind of reads, anyway.
There might be a court case or something, or if he's contesting some intellectual property, or if they're saying that he's broken his contract or something. So it may be that they're hoping that as part of the court case they'll somehow get him back. I don't know how that would work.
Even if you do get him back, having Kojima back by force? I'm sorry, it's not going to do much, is he?
No, that's...
Nope.
Metal Gear Solid 6 comes out, and it's just Jim Sterling riding in on a horse carrying a banner saying, "Fuck Konami."
Okay, someone needs to make an animated GIF of that.
GIF, and yeah, okay, I'm up for that.
Fair enough. All this crap with Konami, it's just really made me so indifferent to Metal Gear Solid 5. I remember when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, I was so excited. With this one, I just really couldn't give two fucks.
Yeah, at least I've got the option of buying pre-owned and not giving Konami my money. Although don't I have to give...
Yeah. Even just in terms of the game itself, I'm just not interested in it. It just doesn't look appealing to me. I've played Ground Zeroes and it was meh.
Fair enough. Should we take a look at what questions we've been left this week?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've already done some of Koshoro, so I'm going to start with Lupacillo and we'll come round to Koshoro. So, Lupacillo says, and this is the first time I've read these, questions for the gents. It's a good thing we don't have a female special guest this week, isn't it?
Thanks for the kind words.
1. Sam. Sam.
Have you forgotten how to read?
No, I've not forgotten how to read. I'm just waiting for you guys to...
Sam. Sam.
Is that the whole question?
I've actually seen what the question says, and now I sort of don't want to read it because I'm thinking about how I'm saying it. So it says, Sam, you have a very charming lisp. Is it just your personal speech style, or is it a regional dialect? Richie doesn't seem to have one.
Oh god, that's hilarious.
Do you have a lisp?
Apparently. I'm now very conscious of how I'm saying my S's.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound like you have a lisp.
I think it's just the way the microphones translate across.
You think?
Yeah.
No. I'm very careful of what I say now.
At least he called it charming.
That's true. Richie doesn't have a lisp, no.
So Richie isn't charming then.
Clearly not.
I don't think it's... people from Norfolk don't generally have lisps. You know, it's usually a one-on-one. And I keep having to say that word. If you have a lisp, then lisp is the worst thing you can possibly say.
I know, whoever invented that word is a cruel bastard.
Well, it's like a dyslexic trying to spell dyslexic.
There's some cruel irony. So question 2. If the next wave of game devices are download service enabled, God forbid, will you purchase them? Probably not. I'm a physical guy. If I can't have physical media, then I probably just don't want it. I'm that stubborn. I would cut off my nose to spite my face and go without new games.
Pretty much all of my gaming nowadays is done on PC. And so this has kind of already happened because I think 95% of my games are on Steam. And there's like one game that I bought last year, which was GTA 5 on the PC, just because I wanted the box, really, not because I really wanted like a million DVDs that it comes on. So it's kind of already here. Like, it's not for games consoles, but for PC, for me, everything is Steam, and I really like it. But then again, I've got a fast internet connection.
Yeah,
so
I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Everything for me is downloadable because it's just more convenient for me to do it. I can click buy and pay for it, and then I can be playing the game within like 10, 15 minutes. Whereas if I had to go out and buy it, it'd be a lot more effort.
Yeah.
See, for me, I click buy, the download starts, and then 2.5 days later, I might have the game.
Yeah, we don't have that problem.
I mean, for me, it's also on top of that. You know, I'm getting games for like £3. I don't care whether it comes, on whether it comes on a disc or whether it's a download. If I'm getting a game that cheap, you know, I just don't really care that much as long as the content is still the same and as long as it doesn't have really horribly intrusive DRM.
Right, let's look at PT. I want to look specifically at PT here, as my reason that I still like physical media. If PT had been like a demo disc released on the front of a magazine, the good old days. Someone's got something really... What the fuck was that?
That was a notification of Richie commenting on the YouTube video.
Oh, that's what it was. I was wondering I thought the timing was a little specific.
Right, okay, interesting. So anyway...
What an obnoxious notification noise.
Oh, I know. I keep meaning to change it.
Some of us have put our phones on silent for this.
You bastard. So, anyway... PT, so in days gone by, that would have been distributed as a physical demo disc, and those would still be floating around. As it stands, digital distribution only, Konami, because fuck 'em, have scrubbed it completely. Apparently, even those who had downloaded it off the PlayStation Store before now cannot re-download it. And there are a bunch of games where, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the PSN release of that, I've just got to keep that fucker on my hard drive now, you know?
Oh, I didn't know they'd taken that down as well.
Yep, licensing.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with that is they basically have a way to retract it once they send it to you. Like, I'll give you an example. Good Old Games, for instance, you get a DRM-free executable installer. You can back up to a disk if you want to, back up to hard drive, cloud storage, whatever. And, you've basically constantly got it. There's no way that they can stop you from installing it once you bought it. I mean, the downside with that is obviously it makes it very open to piracy, but at the same time, it's more positive for the legitimate consumer. The problem with like all these digital things is they're very focused on stopping piracy, and as a result of that, a lot of the time it's the legitimate customers that pay the price.
Well, put it this way, like, in 10 years' time, I will still be able to play my Mega Drive N64, etc. Yeah? I already have games for my PS3 that, I've got to keep them on my hard drive space, because if that PS3 ever breaks or the hard drive ever fails or anything like that, probably can't get them back.
I'm sure we've
Yeah,
had this
but that's
debate
not so much a
before.
problem with. That's not an inherent problem with digital downloads as a whole. That's just a problem with how Sony do them.
I still worry about archival purposes. And I
Yeah, well,
worry
that's what I mean.
about showing my kids a history of gaming when they're older.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, that's why I say things like Good Old Games are really good sources of digital download games. I mean, one thing you need to consider as well is with the amount of indie games that are out these days, publishing them on physical media is just not a viable option. It's just not cost effective for these developers that have a small budget. If everything had to be physical, we wouldn't be getting things like Ukulele, for instance.
I
So,
tell you
I
what,
mean,
I understand that. However, when we're talking about the big AAAs, you make a good point in that physical media is expensive, there's a manufacturing cost, all the rest of it. So why then is a physical game, like I can go get a physical copy of Metal Gear Solid 5 on PS4 right now for $32.99. If I wanted to download it off the PlayStation Store, $49.99. Well, hang on, the store copy, you had to pay for the plastic, for the case, the disc, the sleeve insert, the print costs for that, anything
again,
you've printed on the disc. Like, the cost is higher for the physical item, yet the end price for me as a consumer is lower. Why the fuck aren't digital games cheaper?
again, you're using PSN as an example, and PSN is a poor example of how to do digital games as a whole. Sony are doing a shit job of digital distribution. When you compare it to Steam, Steam does it a hell of a lot better. Sony just sucks at it. It's not a problem with digital distribution. It's a problem with Sony. Consoles haven't caught up yet with PC in regards to doing digital distribution right. And part of the problem with that is it's all very much kind of governed by the developer of the console itself. So therefore, they impose all these restrictions and all these guidelines.
Open Steam right now and tell me how much Metal Gear Solid 5 is.
Okay, I tell you what. Actually, what I can do is I'll go on cdkeys.com
No,
and I'll tell you how much it is on there.
You're championing Steam, which is what most people are using.
Yeah, and this ties into my point because so okay, say something is expensive on Steam. Let's have a look at it. It's probably going to be like 40 quid or something like that.
Yep.
There's alternatives on PC. There's alternatives. That's my point. My point is there's alternatives. On the console, you haven't got those alternatives. On PC, you have loads of different ways you can go about it. Sorry, but you're not breaking my point. It's solid.
I'm having a look right now.
Solid as the map.
I've got Steam open. $45.99. $45.99.
Oh, look, on cdkeys.com, $29.90.
Which is still only £3 cheaper than the physical release.
Wow, one example.
It's not the only example, trust me.
Oh, I missed this last week.
Back to the actual question, the question was more if there were no physical copies for any game. So rather than picking examples, it's the whole thing dying off. Yeah. And personally, I would be very sad because even though a lot of us buy all of our games online anyway, and just download them, Sam excluded, of course. It's still nice if you really like a game. Like I was really happy when I bought Far Cry 4 because I got the set with the statue and the little book and everything, and I probably spent more time looking at those than I did playing the game, to be honest, so far. But it's things like that I'm really going to miss, just being able to have something related to the game rather than just a string of letters and numbers that you type into your Steam account or whatever. But I can't see them ever fully going away because there's always going to be those people that can't download them. I mean, if you look
Like
at
Sam.
if you look at Sam, the internet speed. If you look at places like America and Canada, they have quite strict download caps for a lot of the internet service providers over there. Of course, if you're American, please let us know. I might be wrong, but from what I'm aware of, there are quite a lot of people that have download caps of 20 to 40 gigs. So if you're buying more than a game a month, too bad you can't download them. So I don't think they're ever going to go away. And also, they get more money if they include things like little statues and figures and maps and stuff like that. So although I would be quite sad that it went away, I wouldn't stop playing video games, but I can't see it ever happening anyway.
I just wouldn't support a digital-only console, A, because I saw what happened to the Ouya, and B, just because I don't think consoles can do digital-only right yet. I think they've got a long way to go before they catch up. I see them as what Steam was like in 2005, 2006. I think once they've gotten to where the point that Steam is, and just PC digital as a whole, then maybe it might be worth considering. At this point, though, I think they still need to do discs. On top of that as well, they've got all these sales coming in for games from, high street stores like Game and HMV and stuff. So they'll lose out on all of that if they get rid of all these physical games. Another thing as well is one of the things I think that's really encouraged PC to go digital predominantly is the fact that nobody really wants to be the developer to say, okay, we're going to sell this game on a Blu-ray disc.
How do you mean?
Well, there's no PC games that are on Blu-ray because, you think Blu-ray dual layer, it's like 50 gig, whereas at the moment all the PC games are on DVDs and you're getting GTA 5 coming on 7 DVDs.
Well, that's because the take-up on Blu-ray ROM drives for PCs is still quite low.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing because, and I think that's part of what's helped digital really sort of get that little extra foot in the door for PC more than with consoles. With consoles, all the games are on Blu-ray discs now, so they can still feasibly do that, whereas, it's going to get to a point where they can't just do like 15 DVDs for a PC game.
I think that kind of goes both ways, though. The download service is used more because nobody has Blu-ray drives, but nobody has Blu-ray drives because they can just download the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's kind of gone, hand in hand.
Like, remember back when we switched from CDs to DVDs? You were getting to the point where games were on 3 or 4 CDs and on DVD for the PC, because back then it wasn't really feasible to download a game, so if you wanted to play games, you had to buy a DVD player.
Yeah, true. It was get the DVD player or don't play games.
Yeah. Also, one thing I've just thought of as well is a very good example of a market that is thriving. Some could argue it's probably one of the biggest grown markets that is completely 100% digital only, is mobile phone games and tablet games. You can't buy a physical disc of Candy Crush Saga or anything, but it's one of the biggest booming gaming sectors. So that's an example of them done very well.
I think digital only works really well for handheld, just due to the fact you don't want to be carrying cartridges about everywhere.
Yeah, that's what it's about, though, isn't it? Yeah, you don't want to have to carry all of them around in your bag.
I remember getting my PSP and ripping all of the UMDs to memory stick, so I didn't have to bother carrying all my UMDs around.
Same.
Okay, so I think we've answered. So I'm a firm no. Peter seems to be a firm yes. Terry seems to be a maybe, and Richie.
I'd be a yes. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I'm yes for download on PC. On console, maybe in about 15 years' time.
Well, I think the question is less do you agree with it, and more if you could only get games that way, would you still game? So, Sam, if you couldn't buy physical copies of games, would you just stop playing new video games, or would you find a way of downloading them still?
I would, if there was absolutely no way to back it up to a physical media, then I'm out.
Oh, okay. Let's hope it never comes to that.
Yeah, that's quite an extreme reaction.
I'm quite an extreme guy sometimes.
Very
That's
true.
what for you, Extreme Sam.
Nobody calls me that, you prick.
We will now.
That's my point.
Okay, that's all of Lupasillo's questions anyway. So Kosharo Guy has 2 questions this week. One, if you could be any animal from any given video game franchise, which one would you be and why? Which is phrased and sounds like a blind date question.
I'm guessing we're
Yeah.
talking like sort of fictional animals rather than animals. I couldn't just say I want to be a cat.
Yeah, Sam, you don't want to be talking about blind date and anthropomorphic animals in the same sentence.
Oh god, the furries.
Yeah.
If I could be any animal from any video game, I would be the lead guy from Infamous. Because people are animals, and he's a pretty cool guy with his cats and stuff.
Good answer.
Okay. I don't quite think that's how I meant it, but sure.
I think Sam would be Sonic the Hedgehog.
I think Sam and Terry would both fight for Sonic. One of you's going to have to be Tails.
Yeah, who's going to be Tails? I'll be Knuckles.
Oh fuck you! I was gonna be Knuckles.
Right, I've claimed Sonic then. He slipped for a second to look at Knuckles. I've got Sonic.
I ain't fucking being Tails. I'll take Amy over Tails. At least she has a fucking hammer.
No. I am not.
Oh god, no.
Yeah, that
no.
means you two are together.
Oh, I just realised.
Think of the fan fiction.
Together in the newest canon.
Oh, who knows? The newest canon
I
doesn't
know.
exist. Like, Boom doesn't exist.
So you would rather go out with Sam than acknowledge that the new Sonic games actually exist.
You know what? Yes, at this point I would.
Someone
I do
out there
not
will ship
consent
you.
to this.
Sam and Terry shipping.
No one asked your opinion.
Like, I do not consent to this at all.
No, I feel like I've given a huge cop-out answer because I have, but I can't think of that many video games with animals in that aren't just like... All I can think of is like the elephant from Far Cry 4 and crushing
Well,
people. That's all I can think of.
You could be like a no.
Bandicoot.
I have an answer that's not Sonic actually. My other half calls me her Moogle, so I guess I would be a Moogle from Final
What's a
Fantasy.
Moogle? It makes me
Like
think of some creature that lives on the moon and is it like really moody and doesn't like talking to people, like a Moogle, more like an enemy than anything else.
No, they're like these.
Is that right?
No, they're like these little fluffy flying white cat things.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah, I just showed him a picture.
Moogle sounds like an evil person name.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I would be a Moogle.
Oh, you know what? There's like a shit ton of Pokemon that we could have chosen from.
Oh man.
Terry's a
Yeah,
Blastoise
but
because he
Pokemon game,
squirts
you wouldn't want to
everywhere.
have any Pokemon.
Oh,
Because if you were a Pokemon, you just get captured by some like human that thinks he owns the world.
Some
and then make
10-year-old.
not if I'm motherfucking Mewtwo.
a fight. I guess.
Then you just
Oh,
get a
fucking
Master
shit.
Ball chucked at your head.
All right, then I'll be Mew. Actually, no, I'll be missing going fuck up all your shit.
Okay, so we've got
Why don't you leave me
Moogle,
out? This is
Missing
all.
No, Sonic the
He's leaving-
Hedgehog, and I forget Pete's.
Well, I don't really know because I would just be a human, but that's not really in the spirit of the question, is it?
Okay.
I'm going to be a Pinata from Viva Pinata because they're full of candy. And I like candy.
Yeah, but we have to break you open to get the candy out.
We
That's
could
the
just, like,
best part.
break off a leg or something.
Yeah, but
Keep me alive.
you still feel it.
Yeah, but I'd get to eat chocolate afterwards, so it wouldn't be all bad.
That candy brings on a boy.
Take the good with the bad.
Oh dear. So question 2. If you could eradicate anything, what would that thing be? Terry.
Who wants to say Sam first?
Anything as in anything in games or just in general in life?
That was lucky you took that as me calling you to answer instead of that being my answer. I've got an answer, actually, just popped into my head. Scalpers. Fucking scalpers.
Didn't we have this conversation the other day? And I said mine would be coleslaw.
Oh,
we
yeah.
talked on Facebook. You said if you were president of the world, you would ban coleslaw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
I'm not fan of coleslaw, but eradicate is quite a strong word.
That's how strongly I feel about it.
You know,
Out of everything, you would eradicate coleslaw.
Yes.
So we've got scalpers, coleslaw. Anyone else want to jump in?
Oh, there's so many things I could say. Just assholes. Just nobody needs them. Not as in
Okay.
like a literal. I mean like people.
Nobody-
I don't know about you,
I
but I
was gonna
need
say
mine.
jerks. Okay, jerks. I don't. Just people that aren't nice to other people. Don't need them. Get them out.
Sorry, Terry, it's bad news.
Yeah, Sam's gonna have to go away.
yeah. Wait, that's bad news?
For Sam.
Ooh. So, Terry, what would you eradicate?
People who lack the capacity for critical thought. So anyone who follows Britain first.
Ooh. So basically you're one of those who agree with just take the warning labels off everything and let natural selection sort the rest out.
Pretty much.
Fair enough. We do have, I believe there's another question over on the British Gaming Blog website, which is here. So, what game music / sound environments really had an impact on you? Tomb Raider, again. I'm talking about Tomb Raider a lot today. So the little secret jingle, the little dun, the music changing for the situation. So like, you know, when the T-Rex comes stomping around and you get that dun 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 which the really calming sort of tune that comes in whenever you make a big discovery or you've got a nice landscape or a towering vertical room or anything that's generally supposed to be impressive. I think the sound design in the original Tomb Raider was pretty fucking superb.
I'm going to go with the soundtrack from Unreal Tournament 2004, just because, holy shit, I've never had a soundtrack give me that much of a sensation of adrenaline in a game.
Okay, interesting. Richie?
I'm just trying to think of one.
I'm going to go for the Burnout series of games, except Paradise because I hate it. But
Hey.
for me, the playing Burnout 3 in Revenge, the music was a very big part of the game. And yeah, it is just songs. There's no real, soundscape there. But I think they really made the game. And without that music, or even music of a different type, I don't think it would have been as enjoyable for me.
I think the songs really made the game in Guitar Hero.
Oh, come on. Oh, although I do want to second place answer. Obviously, Tomb Raider still takes first place, best sound design ever. Second place, Guitaru Man.
I was going to say Guitar Man as my second as well.
Oh, why did I not think of that?
I love the songs in that game. Yeah, it's a bit of a cop-out because without the songs it wouldn't be a game, but it is a brilliant rhythm game, and we don't have enough rhythm games. Let's
We
just
really
stop
don't.
shooting people for once.
Yeah, they're making a comeback this year, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's Guitar Hero. I don't want to buy another set of guitar.
Yeah.
Funny you should say that. I've actually been watching a live stream of someone playing the new Guitar Hero while we've been talking, and it doesn't look particularly good, to be honest.
Oh dear.
I think they're trying to make it harder for people, but it gets to the point where you might as well learn a real instrument. Like I haven't heard much about the instruments for the new Guitar Heroes and Rock Bands, but they seem fairly complicated. And at that point, you may as well go for something like Rocksmith, where you're actually playing a real guitar along with the game. But each to their own, I guess.
My answer to the question, just to go back, is probably GTA 3. That's
Really?
probably my favourite soundtrack probably to a GTA game, and that takes a lot to say considering how good Vice City was. It was one of the games I wasted the most hours on when I was younger. and that soundtrack has always stuck with me.
I'm going to go with an obvious answer as well of the Mega Drive Sonic games. I still listen to remixes of those soundtracks to this day.
Thank you, OC Remix. Which reminds me,
Yes.
third place answer for me, Final Fantasy IX.
Oh God, yes.
Are we
Yes.
just all of the games that Sam's played? One thing I did think of that's not specifically about the question, but going back to GTA 5, I really like that, you've got all the radios. When you turn them off, you don't just get nothing. You get this sort of atmospheric background noise, which I
Yeah.
think is...
The heist music is
I
fantastic.
didn't realise it was missing from the previous games until you hear it in 5, and you think... And it really seems to fit what you're doing at the time and your actions and stuff as well. And it's just little things in games like that. And like how in a lot of games, you know when you've killed all the enemies in the area because the music stops being all, heightened and just goes back to the low background. You think, yeah, okay, I can safely come out from cover now.
Fair enough. Right. Well, by the look of things, then, that more or less wraps us for this week. Unless
I've got one more. It's not technically music, although I don't think the question was specifically about music. I can't remember now. But in terms of atmosphere,
what game music / sound environment?
Okay, sound environment, the Amnesia games, and sort of horror games in general, and the new one Soma. This horror soundtrack in that is just... Well, it's not a soundtrack, sorry. The background sound effects absolutely shit you up.
Oh god, the clunking of the typewriters when you save in Resident Evil 2.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, the alien wandering around the vents in Alien Isolation.
Oh god. Horror games get to use audio so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's everyone for this question, though, is it?
Yeah, but
More, I wanted to say Hotline Miami. Not necessarily just the sound, but everything in that game works with each other, and it includes a pretty good soundtrack as well. So don't everyone play Hotline Miami, and if you've played it, play it again.
or get number 2.
Or get number 2.
Okay. Any more for any more?
I was just gonna say, like, after you said about horror games, it's it sounds like the sort of thing that if you're looking to get into sound design in video games, then work on a horror game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Are we safe? Are we clear? Is everybody?
Whenever safe.
Don't wait, just do it. Just go.
Alright. I think that wraps us for this week anyway, so thank you very much. You're a cunt, Terry. Thank you very much for everyone for listening. Obviously, this has been Sam. Richie was over there somewhere,
Goodbye.
mostly watching YouTube videos and Twitch streams.
That's why every week.
And of course, over somewhere else in Norwich, we had Terry and special guest Pete.
Toodles.
Bye.
Bye bye.